Simplified Chaos, episode 48.
Life is beautiful and full of chaos.
And it can get slightly out of hand if that shit's not tamed.
We're here to share how to simplify the little things to help you lead a more intentional life.
This is Simplified Chaos.
Hey, wonderful friends. Welcome to another amazing episode of Simplified Chaos. This is Jillian, and I'm with my co-host and handsome husband, Nicholas.
What's going on, folks? Hope y'all are doing great today. We have another wonderful episode for you. Jilly, what are we talking about?
Today's episode is all about mastering the museum mindset.
You sparked my curiosity. Yeah. What is a museum mindset? Don't answer that.
Okay.
We're going to get into that soon.
Hush now.
But before we dive into that and before we dive into gratitude, we are getting ready to hit episode 50 rather soon, Jilly.
Whoop whoop.
I know. Can you believe it? Almost a full year doing this.
It's been an amazing ride.
It has been. We're having a lot of fun doing this, and we hope you all are enjoying everything. But for episode 50, we are going to do another Ask Us Anything episode. So if there's anything you'd like to know about us, some of the things that we're doing, or if you're just curious, about us personally or anything like that.
There's no such thing as TMI.
Yeah, there's not. Yeah, we'll
share
answer
it
anything. Yeah, that's no problem. So yeah, go ahead and hit us up on the social medias or shoot us an email, and we will try to get to your question. Maybe it'll be on the podcast waves.
Yup.
Yeah. So Jilly, let's talk a little gratitude. What are you grateful for today?
Today, I'm grateful for our house guest.
Yeah. We have a house guest for this week. We haven't had it. Well, I guess we do have house guests pretty often.
We do. We're really using the guest bed a lot, which is really cool.
Which is moved to the basement, which it's a finished basement. Don't worry. It's not unfinished. It's not a dungeon down there or anything like that. But yeah, no, it's been really great having a guest this week.
Yeah, so shout out to Duff. It's one of my sister's friends that she met in college, and she's visiting for a couple days. And we've just been having phenomenal conversations. And she's working on a book right now and just reflecting about, her life and what sparked her to make this book. And I feel like we're very like-minded, and I'm just enjoying just the real human connection and conversations. It's just been really rad.
Yeah, I mean, we even had a really good conversation just before we started recording this here, and just kind of talking about what we were going to talk to you lovely folks about, and she had some great insights on that as well. So it has been some really good conversation, and we also got to introduce her to It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Yeah, that show is hysterical.
I haven't really watched much TV, but It's Always Sunny is phenomenal.
Yeah, when it's just one of those shows, if you really don't have anything to do, I can just pop that on and instantly feel better about myself.
To me, it's like Seinfeld. I can rewatch it over and over again and be completely content.
Oh yeah. No, they're great. So I am grateful for our friends at Friendsgiving.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, we just had a Friendsgiving this past weekend, which was the official kickoff for our Thanksgiving 2 weeks. Month, whatever, I don't know. I can celebrate Thanksgiving.
The beginning of celebrations.
Yes. It's the beginning of celebrations that keep on celebrating. So just a great group of folks. We've been doing this for as long as I can remember, you and I dating. I think it was
6+ years.
6+ years. So it's just really great catching up and just kind of seeing the evolution over time, where there was no kids at all in the first couple times we did Friendsgiving, and now there's kids and new people, old people, been around doing this, and it's just, it's an amazing day for us to get together. Everybody brings some food, and it's all delicious, and, love to thank our hosts for this year, Paul and Heather, and, this is the second year they've hosted it at their place, and it's just been amazing. So definitely grateful for the kickoff of Thanksgiving month.
Yes, and shout
with
out
some great friends.
Shout out to Mandy, because I know you listen. So, hey, Mandy.
What's going on?
It was awesome seeing you. And she dropped by this past week, too, and I'm also grateful
little
for
play date.
It was really cool.
Play date and nacho night.
Play date and nacho night.
Can't go wrong with that.
No, you can't.
Yeah. So, Jilly.
Yep.
talk to me about this museum mindset concept that I believe that you've come up with. I haven't found anything on the internet about museum mindset. And when I was prepping for this podcast, I was like, I have no idea what we're going to talk about. So I'm going to let you lead this and I will chime in when possible.
I made it
Go
up
for
myself.
it. You did.
So yes, I thought of this. I mean, I used to have pretty big problem shopping. I would go to the store when I was bored, stressed, and I believe we talked about this in previous episodes, just how I had an issue with purchasing, and I would use it to fill space, to fill time, to fill voids. And once I started changing those habits to doing other things besides going shopping all the time, I realized that I didn't like shopping as much, but I still wanted to have a good time when I did go.
Right.
Because we all have to buy things. Like, I'm
We
not
do.
against buying things.
No.
I'm just...
There's necessities, and when you go to certain
Yes.
places like Target, where
Yeah.
you might be going to pick up some toilet paper or paper towels, there's a lot of other sections in Target that are very appealing.
Yes, and they're made to be visually appealing, to draw you in and to say, you need me, you should have me. And I don't know how I thought of this, but I guess just with everything else, it's all about changing your mindset and how we view things. And I started realizing that I can appreciate the beauty of things without buying them. And I thought of this really simple quote on the drive home, because I was like, how can I put this into terms people understand? And I said, and this is what I thought of: you don't have to own a tree to be happy. Like, you can view the tree, appreciate the tree, but not have to own it and bring it home to really feel gratitude and to feel pure joy.
Did you have to pull over to write that down? Or did you just remember it?
I had to keep saying it over and over again in my head, because I was like, I can't forget it. I can't forget it. So I was like, and I had various different versions of that, but that's what I came up with at the end. I was like, you don't have to own a tree to be happy. So I feel like sometimes we're convinced that we have to own it and have it in our possession in order to feel that joy. But really what I've learned is that I can go shopping, I can go into a store, and I can have what I call, quote unquote, a museum mindset, where I can appreciate the beauty of things, like in an art gallery in a museum, where all you're doing is observing, you're taking it in, you're pondering, you're questioning, you're reflecting, and I'm not bringing it home with me.
Now I get it. It all makes sense to me now, Jilly.
That
is a hell of an explanation.
Does that help break it down?
Yes. No. That was the clearest explanation I've gotten going into this podcast.
I'm sorry I wasn't so clear about...
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate this, because now we can have some really genuine conversation without anything, which nothing on this show is script, folks. We go right at it.
So I realized, like, I can still go shopping and appreciate the experience and not buying anything. I can appreciate the beauty of a lamp or a very cute decoration, because in Target, we all know, I mean, that area where the Gaines, Joanne Gaines and Chip Gaines, where they sell their things.
Oh, do they?
It's beautiful. Oh, it is. I know you don't go to Target that often, but they have a whole section displayed to make you want to buy things.
They've really cornered the market.
And I can go there and appreciate the beauty of what they're creating and putting out into the world, but I don't have to bring it home to feel that joy.
Yeah.
And I think before I would only feel that high of when I would buy things. But now it's like I can feel the joy just by viewing it and observing it, and knowing that I don't have to take that home and I don't have to take care of it. It is not taking up my time. It's not taking up stress. I can still have appreciation for things without purchasing. And that was huge to me, realizing that if I have that museum mindset, I can appreciate the beauty of things without buying them and owning them and taking them home. And I found that also this is going to sound really silly, but when we go to our local Target, I run into the same friend very frequently.
Yeah.
Shout out to my girl Mimi. And I realized those are the shopping experiences that I remember the most. It's because I run into her and I have conversation with her. I don't remember what I buy or anything else.
Yeah,
I just remember
the interactions with people.
Yes, and that just speaks loud when you go somewhere and you don't remember what you buy. You don't remember when you bought it or why. I just remember when I had an interaction with a person that was real.
Yeah. You know, and I can kind of relate to what you're saying here now that I have a definition of museum mindset. For me, clothes shopping, shopping in general has just never been my thing. Like, if I need things, I'll go out and get it. And there will be times where, unconsciously, I guess I do have the museum mindset where, yeah, I picture myself either in a pair of clothes or having a certain item, and it's like, oh yeah, this is great. But then, for whatever reason, I've rationed it that I don't have to buy this or I don't need it. But when you really think about it, 2 days later, you're home. You're not even thinking about that anymore. Like you kind of forget about it. So, not having those impulsive buys, and don't get me wrong, impulsive buys can be a lot of fun. There's been times when I've gone
for the
out
short term.
Yeah, for the short term. But even, I've bought some clothes that I really still wear all the time. It was more of an impulse. I had no intention of buying something when I was going out there, and I was like, you know what? I'll buy this because I know I'll get use out of it. But that happens very rarely for me. So, yeah, for me, I guess I've had more of a natural museum mindset, so to say, but just not, I haven't been very conscious about it until you brought it up.
And I wonder if more men have this mindset versus women, just because I feel like a lot of advertisements and things are focused on moms and women, and you need to have this to feel beautiful or to look a certain way or keep up with the fads. And so I'm wondering, like, how many men naturally have that mindset that they just view it and see it, and then they experience it, and that's it.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm kind of an outlier because I feel like a lot of guys are still conscious about what it is they're buying. Like, I don't buy like sports stuff. Like, I love sports, but I'm not out there buying jerseys or hats all the time. Like, it's just like something I'm not interested in. Like, I love watching sports and I love rooting for my teams, and I have, a couple pairs of clothing that represents those teams, but I'm not actively going out and getting the latest jersey, although I should get a Lamar Jackson jersey because that guy's just freaking awesome. But I don't buy anything. Like, I really don't. Like, I don't buy new sneakers every 2 months. I don't buy, shirts and stuff like that, and apparel, that I probably normally would buy if I cared about that stuff, but I really don't. Like, I just don't buy things just to buy things.
Yeah, you might be.
I think I could be wrong. Like, I'm speaking for myself and not other guys out there, but I mean, I see a lot of guys who just have, all their team stuff. Like, they have everything, and do you really need all that? And how many days of the week can you wear all that stuff?
Yeah, and I read some pretty scary statistics that I kind of got pissed off about, and I guess mastering this mindset, I'm not saying it's easy. It's a simple idea, but it's really difficult, especially with the amount of advertising that's out there and that's on social media constantly, like listening in and saying, oh, it was pretty scary. We had a bonfire not that long ago, and my friend brought up Rothy's, which is like a type of shoe. And now all of a sudden on Instagram, I'm getting like Rothy's shoes, and I'm like, wow. Like,
now I'm going to get that shit just because my phone hears me. Yeah.
And I'll click on things, but then I'll catch myself like, hey, you're trying to trick me, and I'm not going to fall for it because I don't need shoes right now. But I read this today that the average child aged 2 to 11 sees over 25,000 ads on television a year.
Jesus.
While the average adult sees 52,500. This means that children in the U.S. spend over a week of their lives every year watching television advertisements, and adults spend over 2 weeks a year in the same activity. Like, the fact that our country is making shopping a recreational activity is just, it's blowing my mind. And no wonder I was shopping for fun and when I felt a certain way, to fill time, it's because that's what it's being advertised as. Like, this is what you do when you're America. You shop and you buy. And it's like, I'm fucking through with it. Like, it doesn't bring me joy. Like, some things do when we think about it and what we need, but it really pisses me off to the point where, like, you know what? I'm not going to get angry about it. I'm just going to get smart. And I'm going to make rules for myself. And I'm going to master mindsets and get creative on, like, how can I enjoy life and be happy without being sucked in to what everything is telling me to do to be happy, when I know, like, organically it feels wrong and it doesn't make me happy because I've experienced having it all. I've experienced all the things, and it didn't bring me joy and it didn't bring me happiness long term. It was just in that moment of time buying it And I just really want to preach about that this is not easy, but it's totally possible. And once you, it's like a reflex with anything else. Once you master this mindset and you get in the hang with it and you see the benefits of not having and buying all the things and how happy you are, it's like, I can't go back. I can't.
So I had this is bad radio, but I had a big smile on my face when you brought this up, and mostly about the encouraging for people to spend. And it really comes back to, if you think about the last recession back in 2008, and I know it's kind of getting into a little bit of politics, but it makes perfect sense and is applicable to this conversation. They said that it was everybody's duty in like 2009 and 2010, in order for the economy to recover, for everybody to spend. And what did that mean? There was a lot of people who weren't working at the time because jobs went away. And then as jobs started to recover, they're like, okay, spend. Take loans out, spend. This is how you're going to help the American economy. Spend. Well, I got news for folks. And economies don't thrive on people spending and buying shit just for the sake of it. The ways that economies thrive is through productivity and production. So we have moved far away from being productive, and a lot of those jobs have gone overseas just because it's cheaper. We have turned our society completely into a consumer society where we judge our wealth and our greatness on how much we're spending on things. And that's just not a way. That's why interest rates are so low right now. We're not encouraging people to save money at all. We're encouraging people to spend. And that's why credit is so cheap right now, is because they want you to spend. But we're doing the same thing that our country's doing, is we're putting ourselves in debt over just stuff that's we're either not using or we have too much of, and we really just need to take a step back. And I'm sorry for going off on this tangent, but I mean, it's just kind of at the core of what I see, and just the misleading of the public that this government does to us is like, you always have to spend, and you're doing it because of America. And it's like, no, be responsible. Like, take a look at your spending and say, can I really afford this? Is this really going to bring me any joy in my life? And if it doesn't, then don't do it. Save your money.
And to me,
do something fun. Go on a trip, go on a vacation. That's even better than buying something, And I'm not trying to preach to people, but this is just the way that I see things.
No, and I think the quote unquote American dream or success is not defined by how much money or what I'm spending. It's defined really for me on how I'm spending my time. Am I spending my time doing things that I really enjoy, or am I spending my time doing things that I feel like I have to do to pay for all the debt or the credit card, stuff that I'm using it for? So I think it depends on people's view of success too. Mm-hmm. Like, for me, collecting, consuming all of the things, it didn't make me happy. I experimented with it. I did it. I lived it. And we've gotten rid of most of the stuff that I would spent money on. And I had to come to terms, like, that was a lot of sunken costs, like a lot of money I lost just buying things, thinking that that's what I had to do. It made me happy because shopping was a recreational activity for me. I would go for fun. And now I'm finding that I don't need to go shopping for fun. It's not really doing anything for my health. It's actually doing less for my health than anything. And now, instead of shopping, it's like
you get buyer's remorse, and again, we've talked about just seeing things sitting around and we haven't used it, and you do get mad because you spent money on it, and you're like, well, I can't get rid of it because I spent money on it. Well, if it's just sitting there and causing you anxiety, then you need to get rid of it, even if you spent way more on it than you wanted to. Maybe you can get something in return on Facebook Marketplace. And, we've talked about that in episodes in the past on how to do a little side hustling. But, don't just buy stuff just to buy it and then not use it. Like, really think about what you're buying and, see if it's going to bring you any value in your life.
But for me, I think I didn't actually learn that lesson until I felt that pain and discomfort of losing money.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't grow until I felt the pain of it, until I had to struggle. Like, shit, I spent a lot of money and now I kind of wasted it in a way. So I think sometimes you have to go, you have to feel the pain.
Do you know?
Just when I was walking around the house, like, I don't want to dust you anymore. I don't want to clean you. I'm tired of having this piece of furniture here because you're not really being used. You're just here to fill a space. Like, that's when it really hit me that shit, I had a problem and I need to change it
Yeah.
because I accumulated so many things, and you don't think about it as a lot of things because it's just small things here and there. It could be something you put in a drawer. It could be something hidden under your bed. Most of the time it was something that I totally forgot about. And I'm like, this speaks louder than words. Like my actions that I don't remember you. I don't know why I bought you. Like to me, that was a big red flag that I had to make changes because obviously you weren't making me happy because I'm getting rid of you now. And I don't even remember why I bought you.
Right.
I think if you look at something and you don't remember why you have it, it's honestly, it has no meaning to your life. There's no story behind it.
It doesn't bring any value.
There's no experience behind it. And that's what I'm realizing now is that the best moments and memories for me are when there's an experience behind it or a person that I interacted with that it reminds me of. Other than that, I need to kindly let it go. But I think sometimes we have to feel that pain to really learn and grow. If you don't, it's like you don't really, there's nothing to learn from because you're not really feeling any discomfort or pain from it. So it's, you're just kind of comfortable.
Comfortably numb.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sing that song.
Oh, come on. Pink Floyd.
I know. And so I had some interesting, I know it's called the museum mindset, at least that's what I'm calling it. But I had some interesting quotes or just things about museums that kind of helped relate the museum mindset that you could still enjoy the process without actually purchasing. So I know this isn't the resource part, but I was reading this research from thestartribune.com, and it said spending an hour or 3 at a museum is bound to increase your store of knowledge. But museum visits not only influence what we learn, but how we learn. They spark contemplation, encourage empathy, make us more curious, and increase personal creativity. And I honestly feel we can do that in a store. And it sounds crazy, but we can view things and see the beauty and the art behind what it looks like.
Yeah.
And still have those amazing discussions. We can pretend this beautiful mug is a painting in a museum and have these like, wow, I really appreciate this mug, but I don't have to take it home with me.
Well, it's the same thing like when you're shopping and you see one of those pair of sweatpants that have the word pink on the ass. You can just go home and take one of your pairs of sweatpants and just draw pink on the back of it. And hell, you got pink sweatpants now.
Victoria's Secret.
I don't know if that's what
I know. I was like, you have no idea that that's
no clue,
a brand
but
from Victoria's Secret.
I've seen pink on girls' asses before and just know that that's a thing.
And I think it's also
I don't know if
about...
it's still a thing. That might have been like 2009 or 10. Good. I am so old.
It's about changing the conversation we have. I feel like every time I go to a store, I'm like, oh, that's cute. Oh, that's cute. And most of the time when I said it's cute, I was putting it in my basket and buying it. But now you can change the verbiage to, I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. I appreciate the beauty in that. I appreciate the creativity that someone put into creating that, and then having a conversation about it, and then walking away like it is a museum.
Do you try it on to see what it looks like, and then
the mug and put it in my hand?
Well,
I'm drinking coffee.
If it's a pair of clothing, do you just put it on and say, "Yeah, I look good in this, but I can put it back now"? Because then you've had that experience.
I guess so.
Or did I just come up with a solution?
I have to say, well, going back to my one rule that I have with my wardrobe, like when I try on something, if it doesn't fit 100% and make me feel sexy and it's not 100% comfortable and not 80%, not 70%, then it's like, I'm okay.
You do look sexy in all your clothes.
Thank you, honey.
They fit very nicely, too.
I feel really good in them.
You look confident in them.
But I think maybe like looking at stores... or even people, you know how you see someone in somebody like in advertisements and you're like, man, I really like that shirt. I like those shoes on that person.
Yeah, but I don't have washboard abs, so I can't rock that shit.
And I think if we have that mindset of looking at stores or as people as art exhibits instead, then we can just reflect on the beauty of it. Like, damn, that shirt looks really amazing on that girl. Or... I really love the way that mug, I'm going to go back to mug because I'm a coffee lover, can you tell? I really can appreciate how amazingly crafted that mug is, and I don't have to walk out of the store with it. I think if we see things as art exhibits and have that mindset, we can still have a lot of joy in that.
You have an art mug.
The one I made?
You made?
Which one? Oh, the one Wax made.
Yeah.
The one that she made with her
actually
bare
made
hands.
with her bare hands.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's really rad.
It's one of your favorite mugs.
It is. And it's really interesting because I am a school teacher, for those who don't know, and we just actually learned this strategy that they started in actual museums in DC because they wanted people to interact with the art more. They noticed that people were leaving the museum and they weren't remembering what they were seeing. They weren't having an experience. They were going through and they couldn't remember anything. So they're like, how can we have people interact with the art and like remember at least one thing and resonate with it? And they came up with this strategy where they just ask questions. And it's like really simple questions. It's like, what do you notice about this artwork?
About this piece?
Yeah. Or about this piece. So you can even go into a store and be like if you have kids especially, I'm already finding like, how can I make kids interact with things in a store, but without wanting to take it home? And like, hey, like, what do you notice about this? And they'd be like, oh, well, I notice it, has a toy truck on it, or if like it's a t-shirt they want. And then be like, what else can we find out about it? Like, I don't know. Maybe I could research about trucks, or maybe I can make a truck at home, and like bringing it back to the creative side of like observing it and then saying, how can we cultivate or how can we create something in your interest in this, if that makes any sense. So, and I think it's a great way to kind of dive deep into kids' minds.
Yeah.
Just seeing what they're interested in, because obviously if they're going to talk about something, they're interested in it. So it's like a way to connect with your kids in a way that you're not bringing home all of the things, but you're finding out this is what they're interested in, this is what they're passionate about, and this is what they're enthusiastic about, and then coming up with ideas with how can we take what you're interested in without buying it, but doing things at home that
and
can
making it better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or just tapping
so
into
this
their
thing's
creative
nice,
side.
But how would you make this better? And let's go home and do that. Like, I hope that Lucille would like to do some kind of crafty thing, and we can build some shit in the garage.
So for
That'd
me,
be fun.
Yeah, this museum mindset is not just for adults. I think we can kind of leak it down to our kids and bring out those skills of just observing and describing details and critical thinking and just having discussions, and it builds that relationship and then just confidence, because you're asking their opinion, and they feel confident in explaining in expressive language, and they get to go home and like use their hands and create or build or whatever they want related to the topic you were talking about. I know I'm going on a tangent more geared toward teaching, but I really thought about how this strategy that they use in museums could be applied with kids, because I've used it in the classroom.
Yeah.
And
Well,
the
like
kids
you-
want to be heard, and they
Yeah.
want to speak, and it's just amazing once we give them that time and space, and we think that they want all the things, but really they just want to be seen and they want to be heard.
Well, like you said at the beginning of the episode, I mean, kids are exposed to 25,000 ads a year. So, we need to make sure that, that they're not getting sucked into those and thinking that they have to have everything, when we can, take what they're seeing and say, well, how can we create that here in our environment without having to go out and buy that specific toy or whatever it is that they want.
And I think it's all about gamifying it. Like, we're going to play the museum game. What do you notice? What do you see? And then we're going to talk about it. And I think that's like one way we can trickle down just to appreciate the beauty in things without having to bring it home in a fun way that it's interactive. And there's so many lessons in it than just, I don't want you to buy that, you know?
Yeah.
And of course, kids don't respond well to that.
no,
When you're like,
if you
I
don't-
want this. No, you
yeah.
can't have it.
You actually
breaks
have
it
to
down.
provide an actual argument as to why they can't have it. We don't give kids enough credit, but I mean, you just can't tell them no and say, well, it's because I said so, because that's not really a good enough answer for them. And if you as an adult ask somebody why you couldn't have something and they said because I said so, would you accept that answer? I don't think so.
No.
Yeah. All right, Jilly, anything else, or do you want to dive into some resources? Burp.
Excuse
Get
me.
it.
Your cocktail was so good.
Yeah, what did you have tonight?
After I finished burping, I'm so sorry. Excuse me. It's a record.
It must be the lemon juice.
I had a Gold Rush with a giant ice cube. It was quite delectable.
And I had a good old fashioned.
And I had one more thing to say.
One more
for
thing.
adults. I know we talked
more
about
thing.
connecting with kids, but if you are someone who's always drawn to a certain part of shopping, like for me, I was always drawn to the decoration area in Target. And I think instead in like, what do I want to buy from here? We can just say, why am I so enthusiastic about this area? Like, what inside me really enjoys this specific area of shopping? And I feel like that can kind of leak into your creative side. Like, if I really enjoy decorating, like, how can I cultivate this into something I can create or do at home where I'm not buying it? It was just an idea for adults too. Like, I think you have to pay attention to what you're drawn to and what you're enthusiastic about, and it could lead into something really cool.
Hell yeah.
For you to do, at home or as a side hustle. And I think it's important that adults know that they can have playtime too, as just like kids do.
Exactly.
With things you actually enjoy. It's not all work. Like, please play.
Yeah. No, we encourage it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right. I'm done my tangent.
All right. So what resources do you have for our lovely listeners there, Jilly?
So the resource today is a blog post, and it's by powerofpositivity.com. And
Okay.
this blog post was called 10 Things Money Can't Buy.
Ooh.
And I'm not going to share all 10, but I'm going to
Give
share...
them, like, the top 3 or the bottom 3.
Oh,
And then they have to figure out what the other 7 are.
okay. So I'm going to go with my top one that I thought.
Okay.
Money doesn't buy presence and acceptance.
Ooh, that is a good one.
This
I'm present right now.
This tremendous, life-changing gift is not available for purchase, only to those who seek to understand and apply the concepts.
Deep.
The other one I had was peace. To me, this is like mental health. Like, we think shopping is good for mental health. Man, was I wrong. At least for me. It did not do...
Just added to
Oh my God.
the mental health. Well, mental health is good.
the mental chaos that was
Mental
going on in
chaos,
my head.
yes.
So they have a little blurb about just looking at the countless amounts of money, you're going to like this part, that governments and individuals have spent in the name of quote-unquote peace. These vast sums have never been able to come close to what we would define as quote-unquote peaceful. More importantly, your inner peace does not depend on the balance section of your bank statement. Mm-hmm. It's how you train your mind, set expectations, and define what inner peace truly means to you.
I like that. That was a good one, Jilly.
I thought so.
Yeah. No, and I do resonate with that a lot.
And I think one of my favorite ones is just time. Like, there were so many hours spent shopping.
Yeah.
And no amount of money will be able to turn the clocks back. We must simply take life in moment by moment while experiencing it to the fullest. And experiencing, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Not the purchasing, it's the experiencing.
Well, and experiencing the mall on a weekend is probably about the worst thing ever. So I'd
mean,
rather stay away from that too.
Doesn't fill me up, but it could for other people. But that's just me.
Now, I love being around people, but that's just way too many people.
Yeah, it's not my cup of
Way
tea.
too many. But no, I thought those were great, Jill.
Okie doke.
Yeah.
I'll let the others be just in suspense. I'll leave them
you
in
gotta
suspense.
check them out for yourselves. We'll leave the link to the blog post in the show notes. So, Jilly, you want to get into the take action?
Your take action challenge is just to enjoy the experience,
Yeah.
not the purchase.
Yeah. Save some money.
Museum mindset,
Yeah.
folks.
And then, last but not least, the quote of the day.
The quote of the day is, money has never made man happy, nor will it, or woman. This is by Benjamin Franklin.
Good old Ben Frank.
I should have said that in the beginning.
His
Let me start this over.
Bifocals.
Money has never made man happy, nor will it. There is nothing in its nature to produce happiness. The more of it one has, the more one wants. Mm-hmm. Just be grateful as hell, friends.
Yeah.
That's all I got. Museum mindset. I'm going to keep saying
Yeah.
it.
I have nothing else to add. You about summed it up pretty great there, Jilly.
I try my best.
Yeah.
That's the key to happiness. You see what I did there? The key,
the
Benjamin
key.
Franklin.
The key.
I had to poke you, sorry.
Kite, key.
Yeah.
Electricity.
Dynamite.
Yes. No dynamite.
No? Okay.
Okay. Anyways, thank you all listening to our silly banter here. Thanks again for listening to this episode. We hope you enjoyed it. And if you do, please take a screenshot of the episode on whatever podcast app that you're listening to it on and share it on social media and say why this was such a great episode and how it impacted you.
Yes, we love hearing how our episodes resonate with you.
Hell yeah. And then also, if you could be so kind as to go on to the same podcast site and give us a 5-star review.
5
we
stars?
would very much appreciate that because that definitely helps us reach a larger audience. And we're pretty effing funny, so we hopefully that you're laughing a lot. Anyways, thanks again for listening. We love you all, and we will talk to you again next week.
See you later, guys.
We want to thank everybody for listening today. Please be sure to subscribe and sign up to receive notifications so you know when the next episode is live. If you like today's episode and know someone who could benefit from the topic we covered, please share it with them. And if you have any suggestions for us or want to chime in on today's topic, you can email us at simplifiedchaospodcast@gmail.com, and that's chaos with a K, or send us a comment on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Thanks again for listening, and we will see you next time.